What's up, everyone? This is JOESAVY bringing you some more StarCraft 2 Heart of the Swarm strategy. Today is a TvZ matchup, Terran versus Zerg. Opponent Showtime. Map is something, I don't know the name. And this is a game where I end up opening up one rack's fast expand. Although on this map lately I've been going CC first, Command Center first, which is 14 Supply Command Center. So opening up 10 Depot, and then 12 Refinery, 12 racks. There you go. So that's my standard build versus Zerg. Or as of late, 12-12. So Zerg going for a fast expand of his own, and then just macroing up back at home doing the traditional thing. Not even getting an early hatch, or early pull, which is dangerous versus Reapers. So just keep that in mind. If somebody's going fast Reapers, especially in 8-8, I think it's 8-8, yeah, 8 depot, 8 racks, 8 refinery, then Reapers could be in your base super fast. So keep that in mind. Have them in there at like 3 minutes or something like that. Ridiculously fast. So first Reaper going out across the map, and I'm just going to poke and look. So scouting, 1. I get 2 worker kills, something like that. Do a bunch of stemming or stuttering and running around. Get a little high on the mineral side. Go ahead and get a factory. Depots, spend my money. There you go. 2 additional barracks. Following up, doing a traditional style build. Not getting an early command center because I've already put a little bit of pressure on. Notice the 2 Reapers that poked up. They're just pretty much testing the field. 3 worker kills thus far. Not a ton. But then Zerg, he came up and countered. So here was my big mistake. In fact, we're going to go back and look at that. As I was focusing on all this pressure, while I do this swap, I probably should just drop the barracks where my factory's at right now. But instead I drop it back there, and I was going to just close the wall with the depot when I needed it. But then I go, oh shit, and then I build my depot. But it was too late because the lings are inside. But at least I'm going to trap men and they won't be able to get away. So the lings are just going to focus down my factory. If the factory's dead, I'm pretty well screwed. So I pull my workers, start producing Marines, double producing Hellions. And I did lose a lot of workers, don't get me wrong. So one Hellion happened to pop outside of the wall, so that was good for me. He's going to just deal splash damage to all the lings, and they won't be able to really do anything. Marine's going to deal some damage, and just going to clean it up right there. Worker kills now. He is up 12-3, and has his third, where I haven't even started mine yet. So, and I'm going to be starved on minerals pretty soon. So look at the units tab. 21 versus 38 workers. That's bad. Very bad. Not a good thing. Stem on the way on my part. Combat shield as well. Because he did that pressure, I'm going to go ahead and pretty much do a timing push. Although, we're going to go into my vision because just to show you what I see. So I take my Reapers down. I want to scout to see, okay, yes, he does have a third. My timing push is happening. No matter what, I'm going to do this timing push. So we have Marines popping, Hellions popping, SCVs just going like crazy. I think I got my third command center's on the way. And then as I poke out, I'm going to break the rocks and drop my CC here rather than here. As Zerg, it's good practice to expand away from your opponent. As Terran, it's good practice to expand toward your opponent. With the exception of sometimes in TvT, you want to be careful with that. But even still, Terran is very step forward type race because of siege tanks and widow mines and that kind of thing, where you have to push forward, stop, siege, and then move units up slowly. So it's good to encroach on your opponent rather than try to do the speed effect. Now stem Marines with medevacs are pretty good at kiting around and moving around, but even still, money wise, I am kind of capped. I don't have a whole bunch of reserves because of all that damage he did early on. But as far as units go, I am up to 46 SCVs now. Army size, which I believe is A still. Yeah, active forces, my army is way bigger than his, so I'm going to be able to come in and do some serious damage. Go back to production. Okay, upgrade-wise as well, I started my engineering bay. I'll be getting those pretty soon too. So I'll poke up there. I realize, okay, I can't push up on the natural. And I can't go in and do any real damage, so I'm going to go straight for the third. Focus fire it down, and pretty much, kill the base. Roaches are out in the field, but that's why the Marauders are there. They'll deal with the field roaches really well. So I'm just going to focus down the third and, secure mine as well. Notice I got a PF just in case a counterattack comes. I don't want to have to worry about getting killed because of that. So after I got the third, a couple medevacs pop out, and I scout. Oh, there we go. There was my scouting of mutas. Not a scan, not a drop, anything like that. I see, oh shit, there's mutas. Okay, now it's time to get lots and lots of Marines. Still getting a couple Marauders, but everything else is going to be Marines from this point. I have one turret, two turrets. I'm going to need another turret, or a couple turrets at least. Miss rally on my part, just sacrificial units. You know, that happens sometimes. These mutas came in and wrecked house, which was bad. I don't have enough Marines to deal with it, so I'm just going to push up into my natural and start getting more Marines. And you know, over the duration, I'll be able to get enough to come out and poke out and break the Zerg army. But at the moment, I'm pretty well boned, so that's something bad. Like, you know, the easiest transition when you're in this position of building Hellions and something like this is at your front door, get a couple Widow Mines. I mean, Widow Mines are great versus mutas. And yeah, mutas can, you know, run away from them and so forth and dodge them. But as Zerg, you know, flies over them, if one goes off and hits, it's going to do some serious damage. Tremendous damage. And rather than letting them kill my my PF, I just burrow my mines, come in, kill a few roaches, and I'll have more Marines coming down, and then I'll be in a really good position. So 1-0 on the upgrades. I need to get my second one. I've been dealing with a lot of aggression, so I've been focusing on that rather than, you know, my macro, which wasn't necessarily a good thing. Getting a couple more turrets up. One of the things that I saw after watching the replay is that he went really crazy on a static defense. He got a bunch of you know, static defense, like spores and spines and that kind of thing. After his initial counterattack, where he attacked my ramp right here and killed like 12 of my workers, you know, then I decided to do my timing push. But he decided to get a bunch of static defense to pretty much limit drops. But he didn't get any army, so the problem with that is that I was able to push, or the problem he had with me was that he didn't have enough army to defend my push, and I was able to just push up and kill his third. And even still, look at that, what, 4 crawlers on the way, 1, 2, 1 spine, 1 spore, and you know, my army's getting bigger as we speak, so. Don't have a fourth base yet, but I'm going to go ahead and push out for another attack. These Widow Mines are going to defend me pretty well versus mutas, although they could just swoop around and go in here, and if he has enough, he can wipe out the turrets pretty easy. We're going to poke up, and I'm not going to trade particularly well in this engagement, but just good enough to deal some damage. So he has a ton of mutas, right? So if I would have burrowed those mines, the battle would have gone a lot better. Ton of mutas, which is actually bad for him, because Mass Marine just wipes out mutas. Even though there are just 1-0, but his mutas are obviously unupgraded. All of his stuff is unupgraded. He's been, you know, sacrificing units, or sacrificing upgrades for units. So because of this situation, I'm going to go push up and actually wipe out his third again. Put him in a very awkward position. There you go, third is going to wipe out, and then I'm going to push away and run back up. Again, just rallying across. He's picking off my rallies, cutting off my supply chain, and then eventually I'm just going to rally right here to a more defensive position. Push up, and rather than just running away after I kill his hatch, I'm going to go up and kill all the workers. Now workers killed. I'm pretty much doubling him. 38 to 22. He's going to push up with his mutas, but now I'm in a much better position to deal with it. It's going faster. It's too slow. The Widow Mines are going to, you know, make him scared to even push up or get close. Although they didn't go off for some reason. I don't know. Now I had a couple options with this army. Now I could push up in the natural, or into his main, or just load up in the medevac and run away. And my option, because of that scan, I scanned and saw, oh shit, there's a bunch of bannelings. So I'm going to load up in the medevacs, and normally this would be a bad call in Wings of Liberty, because obviously the mutas can just chase down these medevacs and wipe me out. But with speed boost, I can get away and save most of my units. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to, you know, pretty much speed boost away. There you go. And before his mutas can even get close to me, they're going to, my medevacs are going to be in a good spot and be protected by these Marines. So, pretty straightforward. We're going to pick it up till we get to another engagement. He's not going to really try to push me a whole bunch. Put a couple forward Widow Mines, pretty much just for aggression and containment, that kind of thing. And vision, you know, to see if he decides to swoop through. A lot of Zergs will just run their units across without paying attention. This guy actually does really good at dealing with that, though. So when we get to that point, there you go. So he sends a couple lings up, and then they, you know, after a couple lings die, then he sends 2 up, and they wipe out the Widow Mines without any problem. Workers killed 38, the same as before. So this medevac, before I do a push, I've been doing a drop, or a dual prong a drop, and then do a push at the front door. So I did miss it, but originally the pathing of this medevac was pretty much from here, if you look at the mouse cursor, going around like so. You see the little path on the minimap, around to right here, and dropping, because I knew he was taking this base, so, or I figured he was taking one of these bases at least. I don't have any vision of the other ones. So I drop on the first one I see. I'm going to stem up and try to take it out. Well, the big benefit of that is that he's going to see that. And look what he does with the medevac, or with his mutas. He's going to send all his mutas, not like 10, not 5, but all the mutas to come down and take care of this drop. Well, at the same time, I'm going to hit him with this drop. There we go. So this drop is going to move toward his the base right here that I just keep harassing the shit out of him with. And it's going to drop, and it's going to wipe that out. And at the same time, I'm going to push with my main army. So here's the big death ball. Here's my death ball. And now, while this is dealing damage, and it's going to get cleaned up by the mutas, obviously, this drop is going to drop and clean up this base, or at least attempt to. And then my main death ball is going to push into his army, which consists of a ton of bannelings, which is not necessarily good for me, but that's still also a pretty big army. So active forces wise, I think his army is actually bigger. Yeah, it is bigger because bannelings cost a ton of gas and mutas are extremely expensive. 100 gas, 100 minerals. So it's like, I mean, it's not as bad as losing a siege tank, but it's still pretty, it's like losing a medevac. It hurts, it costs. We're going to go into 2x. So not the best split on my part. I mean, I did alright, but not, not the best. I could have split better. Either way, the Marauders are going to help me out immensely in this fight. I'm just going to keep splitting and pulling back. Notice as the bannelings show up, and blow some stuff up, and the mutas are going to be left to clean up, and that's fine. I can deal with that because I'm just going to run back home and try to save as many medevacs as possible, which I don't save as many as I'd like, but run home, damn you, run home. Did I just lose them all? No, I finally see it. There you go. Now I run them home. And then I have some Marines waiting for the mutas, which is fine. If they want to fly over my Widow Mines, I'll welcome that. It's good. So the game's been pretty back and forth on that part. The one benefit is that my drops have been able to keep me in the game. They've been, wiping out his stuff. So instead of losing this drop, because I know the mutas are back at home, I'm going to just take it back home and let him live and thrive with the rest of his army. I'm going to pick it up a little bit more. I ended up getting this base during the whole process, and getting the PF and the dual gas, and even though I don't need gas, I probably shouldn't have got it. Working on my my next command center, which will eventually be going here, most likely. And then just macroing up back at home. Notice not too many tanks, not too many Widow Mines, just mostly bio and medevacs, but bio and drops. Lots of drops everywhere, all the time. Now this medevac is going out for a new drop. That's his goal in life, is to drop and kill shit, or disrupt Zerg economy. So you see the pathing, he's going to drop right here, which will either be this base or this one. This one's pretty damaged, I probably should kill that first. And then that's going to draw the Zerg's attention again. See how hard he bites this time, I don't remember. Pick it up a little bit. There you go. Okay, same concept. He's going to get the base before his mutas even get there, and then at the same time I'm going to push out with this army. So this was a dual drop. I didn't watch this one, but the second drop came from the northern side and swooped around, and we'll pick off the spawning pool. We'll focus down the spawning pool. Now, a very awkward position to be in, because my Marines, I believe, are, well, they're 2-2 and 3-3's on the way, so let's go into production. 3-3's on the way, but 2-2 versus 2-2 Lings is actually a really good trade-off. 2-2 Marines do really well. And so they're going to pick off the spawning pool, and then he'll be forced to not make Lings for a while, and he won't be able to get extra bannelings, which is good for me, because he has a ton of bannelings at this point. Units-wise, 40 bannelings, so that's it's difficult to deal with. I have 16 Marauders. I probably should have, like, 30 Marauders or something to trade really well, but even still, I'm going to trade decent. Now, this was a bad position for me to be in, because as I push forward, he hit me at a perfect angle, but I'm going to try to split the best I can. Not a good split at all. Split a little bit, but not as good as I could have done. The beauty is that Marauders do soak up a ton of damage. So good trade on my part. I was able to get the spawning pool. I was able to pick off one of his bases. had I really had the time, I would have swooped over and got this one too, but that the mutas were over me over me right away, so it was something I had to really pay attention to. Now, the beauty of this is that he has so much supply locked up in mutas, which are not good in direct fights. The difficulty is that he's going to swoop around in my main and pretty much wreak havoc all over my main base, and I don't really have enough to defend against it. And if I do try to just continue to defend or build a, like 50 widow mines or something like that, then I'll be in a bad position because I'll be pinned in my base and I'll give him time. And what the Zerg always needs is time to build up this big death ball sized army. So, I am kind of starved for minerals, but I'll be floating my base over to, I believe, this position. So I'm in I'm in an awkward position, but not a horrible position yet. So I'm going to do a little bit of defense while I get this base up. Again, it's like a delay tactic from the Terran's perspective. Widow Mine finally goes off. I was beginning to think those Widow Mines never would go off, so they're kind of poking up right here. At the same time, mutas hit the main side of my base. Relatively weak side. I have 4 turrets, but versus 20. Wow, how many mutas? Versus 29 mutas, 4 turrets don't do anything, like at all. The Marines will, though. They'll actually wipe some mutas out, so he's kind of scared. He's going to run them away. Especially Marines with a few medevacs. Any number of Marines I think Zerg are afraid of when they have mutas, so. These mines, good position. He's going to try to do a swoop attack. Probably should be burrowed, though. That was a mistake. I didn't want to load those up, actually. Burrow, damn you, burrow! And runs them away before the mines go off. This is really how to use mutas, honestly. Don't fly them over and lose a bunch of stuff. You want to actually go up and keep using them all game. If you're going to go with mutas, you pretty much use them until you can get a tier 3 unit out. And you pin and you harass and you move around the entire map until you get to a point where you feel like you're comfortable enough to push across with the Death Army and win. Or at least trade extremely well. Or cripple the opponent, that kind of thing. Still not burrowing my mines. I want to be able to move them as fast as possible if necessary. Notice the muta's going up. They're going to wreck house on this base. Supply-wise, 174 to 159, and I'll be making my next push in a second. So instead of going out and trying to deal with the mutas over there, which again it would be like a constant non-stop harass basically, now it's time to attack. Alright, so he has all these mutas in my base, so I'm going to push out and attack. He has more mutas right here. I didn't know that. In fact, he's up to 43 mutas. That's a lot of mutas. Alright. So my mines, I'm going to take pretty much everything I got and engage. It's time to engage. So I, burrowed a couple mines. I'm going to pick off that base, poke up, move around, not do a whole ton. And because he's Zerg, he can't base trade well with mutas. Mutas themselves are great at pinning, but they don't destroy stuff fast enough. So bio is always a good thing, and the saying, never base trade with a Terran. Well, it's true, especially when you have mutas. I mean, mutas are fast, but they don't destroy shit quick. Marine Marauder, strong, powerful, high DPS. They'll just blow through everything. So I'm sitting at about 75 Marines now. Versus, I think, what is that? 43 mutas, but I have medevacs, and they'll shred them like, they'll shred them like paper, pretty much. It's a bad deal. So I'm going to go ahead and do a drop on the low ground. Try to get this base or one of the bases. Let's look at the pathing, actually. Where is the path? Right there. So I'll be trying to get this base. So again, drop mixed with attack. Drop and attack. Drop, attack. Mines are going to burrow down, and Zerg's going to kind of try to play for a second, but then he's going to get scared and run away because mines are crazy strong. Notice I'm supply capped. There's really not too much more I could do in the game until I get my depots up. But again, his mutas are a pain in the ass to deal with. So this point, so the mutas come down. It's all about off balance. Countering what he's doing. So the mutas are going to come up. They're going to attack this medevac, which is fine. He was a sacrificial medevac, and at the same time, I'm going to set up for a push. It's going to be a smaller push. I'm going to push up with a couple units. There you go. So mutas, I know where they're at. I know they're attacking this base, and I know it's safe to attack because he can't attack with the full force of his army. I didn't know how many units he had in his base. I mean, for all I knew, he could have been maxed out on Ling Bling inside his base, or a couple ultras could have been coming out to meet me. So I didn't want to run up the ramp blindly. So I send a small little force, let the bannelings deal with it if he really wants to take care of it. I scan, I'm going to go into my vision. That's what I see now, so I see the ling bling, and I notice it's not very much, but a lot of times Zerg hide, you know, in different sections around their base, and then attack from all angles when you show up and you do a massive surround. So he's going to poke up and do that, then I'm going to do this tactic. So it's like the partial attack. First wave is going to be pretty much all my Marauders. So if he wants to attack with the bannelings, that's fine. He's going to blow them all up on the Marauders, and that's good. He doesn't have a spawning pool, as far as I know, so he can't really counter. I figured he probably had one by this point, but he couldn't get more bannelings and that kind of thing. So more poking and partial sending my army. So I'm not sending the entire thing in. I still have half of it in the back, and I'll be, bringing up little sections here and there, and then just splitting as I need to. Sending all my army up, and now it's Marine versus Nuda, and never a good trade for a Zerg, so I was able to come away with the win. And that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, hit the like button, like the channel, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment with questions or suggestions. Have a good one.